Have you ever thought to yourself on how times have changed in the workforce and how clean shaving doesn't mean clean shaving anymore, with men with their full beards or their man buns at work? Then why have other forms of expression change as well? In today's world, society has been much more accepting of new ideas, such as same-sex marriage and transgender individuals have even been accepted. Then why is tattoos still being considered unprofessional? In an article called 10 Wrong Reasons Tattoos and Piercings in the Workplace Are Covered, they state that 90% of Americans wouldn't change where they shop due to an employee being covered in tattoos and piercings, as long as the quality of the items and customer service stood the same. Even in today's world, 61% of adult Americans have tattoos. So they're getting more accepted and more as individuals than they are in the workforce. A lot of people see it as a form of expression, just like how some may dress from a different era or have bright colored hair. Those are more accepted in the workforces, as you can see when you go to any kind of store and or office and see someone with a bright colored hair, even just at the tips or the whole head. And I know the taboo on tattoos has a lot to do with it, as a lot of people see it as a gang member thing, or as my grandma sees it as a religious thing where I'm defacing my body, where I tell her piercings are the same thing as she has multiple in her ear. She reminds me that in her era that it was a way to show how feminine you are. And I see my tattoo, I have to explain to her over and over again, that's how I see my tattoos. My tattoos are something beautiful and I feel beautiful wearing them and having them. And she still, as many grandparents are, stuck in her ways and does not see it that way. And I feel that's what companies are. They see it a certain way and have not changed their minds. And even now, a lot of Fortune 500 companies like Google or QuickBooks allow their employees to come dressed casual to work, knowing that doesn't affect their character or the qualifications of the job. And that's stated in My Body Is Not My Resume. And in the Cougar, they also state tattoos do not determine professionalism, people do. Just like how they state, don't judge a book by a cover. It's the same thing with tattoos. You shouldn't judge someone's qualifications based on the way they look, but more on the characteristics. They also will say that it's because they're distracting. When in the same article, they state that 50% of employees will admit to wasting 1 to 5 hours of work surfing the web or social media. And I'm guilty of that. I worked at a nonprofit job for the state where I was always on the computer. I had to email or research things or communicate with employees and other companies. And I would catch myself on the web, searching for recipes, booking vacations. Yes, it didn't have, and back then I didn't even have as many tattoos as I do now. I was like, I believe they do not have any effect on my work ability. I'm working harder now than I did back in my 20s, and I have way more tattoos now than I did then. There's times where I haven't felt good enough to even apply for a job or interview for a job because of my tattoos. I'll cover up when I go to interviews now. And when I get the call that I either got the position or I did it, to let them know when I get that I have tattoos and what's their policy. And usually it's always the same. They have to be covered. Even my last office job, they told me just make sure they're covered when the big bosses come. So I'd always kept a cardigan or a jacket around to help with that. But I believe at that point, if I'm already working for you, you should be able to see the quality of my work and shouldn't care whether my ankle tattoo happens to show when I'm sitting down, or my arm tattoo is out today because it's a little bit warmer in the office than normal. And I understand some tattoos can be vulgar and inappropriate. And just like how clothes are a form of expression, just like tattoos, and there's a dress code at most offices, there should be a code for tattoos as well. No one wants to see inappropriate tattoos at work, or if you're a teacher for an elementary school, they don't want to see your old beliefs tattooed on you, or your old past life that you might have changed tattooed on you. And I know they're a form of expression, and you might have been expressing something different, and sometimes it's not appropriate. There should be limitations. There should be a code on that for offices, and just not automatically discriminated when you're applying for a job. There's many policemen that have full sleeves on their arm, or firefighters that are tattooed from the neck down, but the community will still rely on them to keep them safe and protected. So why is that not accepted for big blue collar companies? I have tattoos and I plan on getting more, but I hope that my experience with my job now and my education that I'm still growing in will not discourage any company from hiring me, or from discourage myself from applying for any jobs. Tattoos should not limit you on what you feel like you could do, and should not limit you or companies from hiring you knowing what you can do.